Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to see you all here today. Hope you're enjoying this lovely weather as much as I am. I'd just like to take a moment to thank the people that are helping me today. John and Nick will be going around and collecting the donations. So when I found out I was doing the Sergeant session this week, I was sitting down and had my laptop open, and then suddenly my lid went bam and closed on me, and my 2-year-old son came up and said, "Story time, Mummy." So I had a lot of time to give this thoughtful consideration. So after we had read The Snail and the Whale, a book that I'm sure most of you are very familiar with and have read to your loved ones at some time, we read it about 25 times, and we talked about all the places that he's been and I've been and the people we love have been. And then he quickly ran off and started playing with his trains. So I got to put my mind back and think of our community here, and I thought, well, it's Christmas, and New Zealanders as a whole, they're thinking about their families and their friends and their communities, but they're especially thinking about the places they can go, just like the snail. So I thought today I would do a quiz on a wonderful place that some of us may be lucky to go to, and it might give you some inspiration for your holidays this year. So we'll just start right into it. Does anybody know what this part of the world is? Oh, all right, give up generously, people. It's the Galapagos Islands. Now, this is a very special part of the world. It's a marine national park, and there's a lot of conservation that goes on here. So, is the Galapagos Islands part of Colombia, Chile, Peru, or Ecuador? Ecuador. Yay! So, Ecuador claimed possession of the Galapagos Islands in 1832. Pardon? Oh. Okay, so I'm sure everyone in this world is very familiar with this face. The Galapagos Islands inspired Charles Darwin to write his theory of evolution. What was the name of the ship that Darwin sailed to the Galapagos Islands on? Ah, well done! There's no point of all over there, you guys. Oops. There we are. True or false? The United States built an Air Force field. True. True. And there it is. And so this airfield was where the Ecuadorian government kept an eye on the Panama Canal and looked out for submarines during World War II, and it's still used today. Which of the following is not a creature found in the Galapagos Islands? A, the marine iguana, B, Darwin's finch, C, the vermilion flycatcher, or D, the red-crested booby? The booby! Sadly, the red-crested booby is not found in the Galapagos. There is, however, blue-footed boobies, masked boobies, and red-footed boobies. I said that already? Blue, red, and masked. So there's some amazing creatures there. Which is the official currency of the Galapagos Islands? A, the real, B, the peso, C, the US dollar, or D, the Bitcoin? US dollar. US dollar. So they did have their own currency until 2000, but unfortunately the market collapsed and lots of people started taking all their money out of banks. So since that time they have had the US dollar as their national currency. Who are we? I would expect everyone would get that face, but how about the tortoise?
He just died.
He has, not so long ago. Yes, poor George. So, of course, Sir David Attenborough, English naturalist and broadcaster, and Lonesome George, the giant tortoise from Pinter. And unfortunately, George was the last of his kind, and he passed away sadly in 2012. So there is still a lot of giant tortoises on Galapagos Islands, but he was the last one, so of his particular species. So, which is shorter, the little blue penguin of New Zealand or the Galapagos penguin? The little blue, yeah. New Zealand takes this one out. So the little blue penguin is actually the smallest penguin in the world. So we win. And Galapagos is a fantastic place. It's there's just an amazing amount of species there that cohabitate. And as you can see, this picture is a couple of the residents talking to each other. And there's a few references for you. Thank you for your time.
Kia ora, Mr. President, fellow Rotarians, distinguished guests. Somewhat unnerving to actually spend 5 minutes talking about yourself. Seems contra to being a New Zealander, really, to spend so long outlining your attributes and your skills and your highlights. But I'll give it a go. So first I'm going to spend a microsecond talking about my career, and it will be a microsecond. And second, I'll have a go at talking about some of the passions about what makes me. And last, I'll try to sum up and talk about why I joined Rotary. So, microsecond about my career. Trained as a chartered accountant, worked with the KPMG, spent a long time overseas, came back, worked for the audit office, became a CFO, actually then moved career and worked in technology, so I've become a CIO and I've been leading large corporate groups. So I've got a bit of a background in both risk, finance, legal, technology and how to get things done. So I said it was a microsecond, that's my career. Some of my passions, well they're a little bit different. First passion's got to be around family. I have two girls. My oldest girl graduates out of Canterbury in 14 days' time, which is a big event in our family. And my youngest has just enrolled herself in UB and doing a diploma in digital design and animation. I think she has views of wanting to work in the movies, but I think the digital design part will actually settle well in terms of a future career. Second passion is travel. I've spent my 4 or 5 years overseas. I've worked in Hamilton and Windsor, Ontario. So I'm sure we all know where that is. Hamilton is just the bottom of Toronto, and Windsor is across the river from Detroit. So I worked there for about 7 or 8 months. I spent about 6 or 7 months working in Sydney, and I spent 2 years working in Boston, Massachusetts. In fact, I was the second person from Australasia to work in that office. The first one was from Hong Kong. So I was the first Australasian to work in that office, to tell you the truth. Look, I love America. Managed to visit about 40 of the states. And to tell you the truth, there's 2 things I learnt about America. One is it's not a one-size-fits-all. Americans are very different, depending on where they come from. And the second thing is, I think Winston Churchill had it right when he said you can trust America to do the right thing after they've explored all the wrong options. And I think we're starting to see that now, particularly in the political regime. So I do travel a lot for recreation purposes now, but I do like having a home back in Wellington. And I still remember flying in from being about 5 years or 4 years overseas, flying into Wellington thinking it was such a quaint, cute little wee town. And that's my opinion today. It is a phenomenal little wee town, one of the best little cities in the world. My third passion is around my hobbies. So what do? I'm a bit of I actually renovate houses. So I renovated about 3 houses, quite handy. So I can do plumbing, plastering, painting, electrical work. Be rest assured I get the plumbing and the electrical work certified afterwards. So I can do all that. And it's something that I really enjoy because I think in my career I spent a lot of time on the computer talking to people, writing memos. Now and then it's actually to do something with your hands and to build something is immensely pleasing. So when I build a fence or build a deck, you'll probably see me walking out there every night for about 2 weeks, just going, oh, done a good job here, kick it there, kick it there. Great job. My other hobby is I ballroom dance with my wife, and I've been doing that for about 6-7 years. And I still remember the first day I took it up, and my teacher said, and it sounds somewhat misogynist, so bear with me, he said, you have only two major purpose roles, 2 roles in dancing as a male. Your first role is you are in charge. You take the lead. You're in command. So I raised one eyebrow, and he said, but your second role is you're nothing but a coat hanger. Your role is to make your partner look glamorous and beautiful. And it is true. And it's very easy to do with my wife because she is glamorous and beautiful. So I enjoy that very much. And my other little hobby is sort of like exercising, swimming and walking, which I do with family. It's a great family connection time. Third passion, I'm not sure on the fourth passion now, aren't I? Fourth passion is around leading people. I love leading people. I get a kick out of seeing my teams grow and develop and seeing my people actually excel and seeing their careers fly. I think that's a very traditional way New Zealanders think about leadership. It's about giving back to your team and creating high-performing teams. I'm not much into leaders that with a high degree of ego or a high degree of brand. I'm starting to see that American influence flow in, so I did see that a lot when I was in America. But hopefully we still stay true to the old typical New Zealand leader, someone who's trustworthy, self-reflective, motivated, and cares about others more than they care about themselves. And my last passion, and probably the reason why I joined Rotary, is Wellington. I love this town, which is strange because I was actually born and raised from Palmerston North, and I came into Wellington when I was 21. So my first trip when I came to Wellington and got a flat was I thought Wellington was awful. It was windy, it was cold, there was lots of earthquakes, lots of hills. But I must admit, once you've travelled and seen the world, you start to realise how wonderful this town is. And I've seen Wellington grow phenomenally over the last 30 or 40 years. I still remember Courtney Place when there was nothing more than a bus stop and a whole lot of veggie shops and Chinese restaurants. Now you walk down there at 2 o'clock in the morning, you still feel like a grandfather, but you see a lot of vibrancy and youth and entertainment, and it's just so wonderful to see a dynamic Wellington. Why did I join Rotary? Well, it's pretty easy really. I have now got most of my children sort of semi-out of home and transiting back into their career or their higher learning, so I actually have some degree of freedom. I'm no longer a taxi driver or a chief funder. I've now got some time to actually to give back, and I view this as a key mechanism to actually give back to my community. Thank you very much.
Kia ora, Wellington Rotary Club and President. My name is Rachel. I have been a member of the Rotary Club of Wellington for about a year now, thanks to Ramsey, who introduced me to the club. And I've been working with Tony Hassett and Tracy on the youth committee and with Scope. And we thought it would be a good idea to give the membership an opportunity to learn what Scope has been up to. So, quick show of hands, who knows what Scope is? All right, okay, doing all right. Scope is a group of young professionals. They have foundations and interests in 2 areas, both professional development and community service. It aligns quite nicely with Rotary. I come from a background, I lived and worked in Chicago for a number of years where I helped nonprofits establish boards for young professionals, whether it's a junior board, an associate board, or something that feeds into a board of directors or executive committee. And I've been doing very similar work with Scope. So it is not an arm of Rotary per se, but it is linked in with what you all do and what you're interested in. And one of our hopes is that we are capturing a group of people between the ages of 25 and 35 who will one day consider Rotary. I think Rotary has some really phenomenal things in place like Interact and Rotaract and RILA that capture the youth and feed them into Rotary so that they're aware and know what it is. But there's a bit of a gap after you exit university. What's next? You're starting your career, and how do you get involved? And of course, they could become members of Rotary, but I think there are sometimes barriers, or they're looking for something with a little bit less of a financial obligation or time constrictions. So we have created Scope. So it's a $40 annual membership, and there's really not much commitment beyond that. We have meetings for the committee members bi-weekly, so Thursdays after work. We have about half hour, an hour, and that's for those interested in leadership roles. But the average member is someone that we look to attend our events and join in on our community service projects. And that's about it. You can really get as involved or be, casually involved. It's really up to the member. So we're trying to offer an alternative for young people to still get involved and find that networking, professional development, some of the reasons that we all joined Rotary, and still have that community service aspect while fitting in with busy young lives as they're starting families or starting careers. So that's a little bit about what Scope is. I'll give you an update on where we are. It's been around for almost 2 years now, and last year we did a bit of a visioning session. So we tried to see where do we see ourselves fitting in and how can we move forward. And that's when we really decided on these two foundational pieces of Scope, which are that we want to provide professional development opportunities and community service. So we've been recruiting for members, we've been doing professional development courses. Just a few weeks ago, Tony led us in a Governance 101 event, which talked about board governance and joining boards and how to run a board meeting, all sorts of things that give young people an opportunity to learn. So how can you guys get involved? We would love for you to send us members. So think of young people in your life, whether you work with them, their family members, friends, anyone really in that young professional age group that is looking for an opportunity to get involved and what might be next for them. Feel free to send them my way. You can also email Tony, or even if you email Rebecca, I'm sure she'll get it to me eventually. So that would be a really great way to just get the word out about what Scope is. Going into the new year, we're doing a professional development workshop series, so we'll have one event a month for the first 3 months starting in February, and it'll basically be different trainings in different areas of business, so we'd like to have speakers and things. So that's the second way you can get involved. If you're looking to help, you want to get involved, we would love expertise. The third thing that we're really excited about that we're going to pilot next year is called a 3 Cups of Coffee Mentor. So I know Rotary does quite a bit of mentoring, especially with skilled migrants and other things. But this is the most low-key, low-maintenance mentorship program ever. We will be soliciting from Scope members areas they might be interested in. So far we have areas of international relations, law in New Zealand, governance, as well as the technology sector. So these are Scope members in that 25 to 35 year age range that are in those areas that are looking for a mentor, but not a full-time mentor, just 3 cups of coffee. They might want to chat with you about making a career change, moving internationally, how you got to where you are, and it's 3 cups of coffee on your terms. And if you hit it off, great, continue the relationship. But at the very least, we're just looking for a few contacts to help them build their networking skills. So those are 3 easy ways that you can get involved with Scope. I'll be giving you another update and doing this a few times a year so that you can know what we're up to, but feel free to reach out to me, email me in the meantime. Be more than happy to chat with you. Thank you so much.
President, fellow members, I'm delighted to introduce Chris Whelan to you. He's been along as a speaker, so I'm sure most of you know him. So Chris was born in South Africa. He did an undergraduate degree in business science, and postgraduate he did a master's in futures. So he's a futurist, futures and strategy. So he came to New Zealand to be the inaugural Chief Executive of Reader. He came with his wife Janet and 2 children, John and Kate. They live in Kandala, and he is now setting himself up as a consultant, a strategy consultant in the areas of IT, cities, governance and business. So he's the man to go to if you need any of those things covered. So it's with great pleasure I introduce to you Chris Whelan.
Thank you very much.
That's right. Then they can all see you. Chris, it's my pleasure to induct you into the club. You've been endorsed by the member and then by the board and then by club members. And Chris has been seen as being a worthy representative of his vocation and of the ideals of Rotary, and now's your opportunity to put them even more into practice. As part of the Rotary, you join umpteen million members and a great deal number of clubs. The best thing of which is that you can visit those clubs and get a sense of the international perspective of Rotary. And Paul Harris started Rotary with 3 friends in 1905, and it has led now to a reputation that's unmatched in the world across all those millions and also so many clubs. Ever since that time, the focus has been service above self, and our clubs are all about this. Part of that is the 4-way test to consider, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Run a test on this. Will it build goodwill and better friendship? And is it beneficial to everyone concerned? Your proposer has explained the expectations of attendance and involvement and will be your mentor. Our job as a club is to help you enjoy your Rotary journey with our club.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Now over to President Peter.
Chris, welcome.
Peter, thanks very much.
This is the pin.
Thank you.
Wear that proudly.
Thank you.
That's your avenue to visit any club anywhere around the world.
Thank you
And
so
I'll welcome you aboard. This is your name tag. For those that are sitting at a table with somebody with a star on, just have a note. The star stays on for 12 months. It just indicates a new member. Please make sure you make the new members welcome to our club.
Thanks so much.
Please enjoy it. Be part of a committee. It's a great way to get involved in the club and get to know people quickly. I've also got some reading. Terry's got some reading. Bit of background to Rotary and to us to give you a bit of a context. So
It's great to
welcome
appreciate it.
aboard,
Thank you so
and
much.
members, if you could greet Chris in the normal way.